In this application note, we're going to talk about text, the basics of the text node, its properties, and how those properties are inherited from the parent or not inherited from the parent, as the case may be. Okay, we're going to start with a very, very basic project in the window here. And it's got one page called My Page 1, and the background color of that page is fully white. So plain blank canvas. Now, a text node, we can just add a text node right here, can be wrapped in a box or not. In this case, we're going to just have a plain old text node at the page level, and we can actually put its value, which is the text itself, right there in the node. So let's call this let's do the classic Hello World. There we are. And I see a little box up here, but I don't see any text. Well, what color is that text? I'm looking at the text node itself, and there's no value set for the color, or for anything else that matter. None of these other properties are set. Text nodes inherit properties from their parent if they don't have anything set locally. So I could set the text color here to, let's say, black, or something like black. Let's go. Oh, that's fully black. There we are. And there's our hello world. Now, the question is, where did the white come from? So if I remove that and the text goes away, let's look at the parent, the page. It also has the text properties, and they're called inheritable text properties, but there's no text color set. So let's go up to the display level, and there it is. There's your opaque white text right there. So if I change the default to black at the display level, my text turned black. Well, that's because this piece of text inherited the color all the way up until it found it set, and it was set at the display level. If I add another page, and we'll call this page 2, My Page 2, and of course we have to give it a background color, and we'll make this background color black. And we're looking at page 1, of course. There's page 2. And let's take the same piece of text and copy it to page 2. I used Control-C, Control-V, or you can use right-click, copy, and paste. And there's that same piece of text, and we don't see anything. Well, if we remember, we set the text at the display level, the color to black, so of course we're seeing black on black. Let's change the color of this page's text to white. Since we've got a black background, that might be a good idea. So we'll change, and there we go. Hello World, let's call this Hello World Part 2. And so you can see Hello World Part 2 in white. And it's there again, there's no color set here, text color, but there is the white set at the page level. So if I take that text, copy, paste, and add it again, now these two pieces of text are actually over top of each other, so we're not going to see anything fancy. But since this is the later one, it's going to get rendered last, we're going to change its text color locally, right here on the text node, to this red color, and you see the red. The white one's still there, it's just behind the other piece of text. So let's move these two pieces of text apart. Let's set the text vertical alignment to center on this one. And lo and behold, our text moved down to the center. And let's change it so we can lower version here in the text. Okay, and there's the Hello World Part 2 lower version, and there's the upper version. So again, if we look at the inheritance, we're seeing this one having the color set locally, the vertical alignment set locally. This one here, nothing is set, it's getting its color from here, and because there's no alignment specified at all, it by default is going to the top. Now you wonder, why is it being horizontally centered? If I look at the text node itself, there's the H-align property is not set. So let's go up to the page level. Text H-align, not set. So let's go up to the display level, and there we are. We've set the default at the display level, which inherits to everybody down below, unless they choose to override it to center. If I change this to left, you'll see all the text in the whole GUI that hasn't got something specific locally changed to left. And I can go back into this Hello World Part 2 lower version, and again I can override it right here locally and make that center, and now it's centered. All the text properties work that way. You can override them locally, or you work your way up the parent on an individual property by property basis towards its parent, its parent's parent, until it finds somebody who has that property set. That's what it uses. So that allows you to create a page with a certain color of text on the page, set the text at the page level, and if you need that color to change, you can then modify it at the page level, and everybody who it just naturally inherits will change all by itself, rather than having to go into every single text node and change its color. Text nodes are very light. Notice that there's no box really around except the page, and because I've got H-align and V-align, and of course the standard left, right, and center, as well as none, of course, options for both vertical and horizontal, I've got 9 positions that I can put text in any box. So if I create a new box here at the page level, and of course it inherits the whole size of the page, but if we shrink it and make it only, let's say, half the size of the parent, parent.inner width over 2, I'm using a layout rule here, and I've just made that box half the width, and I'm going to make this parent.inner height over 5, a fifth of the height of the parent, and now we've got this box here, and I'm going to vertically center it, and I'm going to just leave that alone right there. Or actually, let's put it in the bottom left-hand corner. Okay, so now I've got a text, an actual box down in the lower left-hand corner. I can take my Hello World Part 2, and I'm going to drag this into the box. And now Hello World Part 2 is within the context of the box. And so Hello World Part 2 does not have any horizontal or vertical alignments. I'm going to center the text. And of course, this text alignment is within the context of the box. If I change the background color of the box to something where we can see it a little bit, you'll see that the text is now centered inside the box. So you have some basic alignment properties on a text node, 9 different positions in the containing box or page, and the way to change that scope is just to wrap it in a box. Now, boxes are a little heavier than text nodes, so you want to think twice about adding too many boxes if you don't need them. Makes your GUI bigger. But this is exactly how you would lay out your GUI into different zones, let's say a footer or a header, or a box in a certain area with an alarm in it where the text would appear. So you can see how the text would be positioned inside that box. Hello World Part 2 has 9 positions inside this box. So whenever you need to create a text and put it in a certain position, just figure out what level of box you want to wrap it in, whether it's the larger container or you need to have a special box for the text itself, and then figure out how you want to use the H-align, text H-align, text V-align properties, as well as the text color. Now, we do have a font in this GUI. We actually have 2 fonts. We have the F big numbers font and the main font. There's a separate app note talking all about fonts, but right now, if you look at the display level, we've got the text font sent to the main font and the size set to 20. Just like all the other properties, and the style plain. Just like all the other properties, these are going to inherit downwards. So if I look at the Hello World Part 2, it's going to be that 20-point F main font. I can go in and change the size, and the pick list will tell me the options that are available, and I can change it to 32, and now that font gets bigger, and now I have a larger font. I can set it back to no value, go up to the page level, and change my text size to 32, and now of course all the page text on the page defaults to 32, and again I can go to the Hello World Part 2 lower version, which is now of course in the center of the screen, and change that text size back to 20. That's a local kind of override, and there we are. So hopefully that gives you a feel for positioning of text, text colors, text alignment, and the ability to inherit and how inheritance is either set at the higher level and overridden at the lower level, and so how you can manage more of a theme of colors of text throughout your pages.